Detective Boy Green is on the case, and there is a lot of breadcrumbs, a lot of juicy notes and nuggets that connects Mike Evans to the New York Jets. Let's investigate, give you all the details. Plus, a new NFL insider shared some juicy details last night on Mike Evans to the Jets. Here we go.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good morning, everybody. Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video program, also available wherever you get your podcast in the audio version as well. Simply search for Boy Green Daily. All right, let's get into it. A couple of key nuggets here in the Mike Evans situation. Number one, the Buccaneers are unlikely to use the franchise tag on Mike Evans. That is the reporting of NFL insider Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report. Instead, the Bucs are likely to use a franchise tag on Antoine Winfield Jr. God, that makes me feel old. But Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety, okay? And not even Baker Mayfield. So they have, in theory, a lot of guys to potentially use the franchise tag on. But the latest juicy deets suggest that it will be Antoine Winfield Jr., not Baker Mayfield, not Mike Evans. So let's just put that right there for a second. Let's park that. Okay? If that's true, that means at a bare minimum, and this is all you can ask for if you're the Jets, is an opportunity to pitch Mike Evans on trading his Tampa Bay uniform for New York Jets one. Because if they the Bucs slap the franchise tag on Mike Evans, there's no conversation we had. A tag and trade, maybe, but that's money, that's draft picks. The Jets don't have a lot of picks and assets right now. They have 5 picks in the draft. In a couple of weeks, they could add 3 more 7th rounders, which would bring their overall pile to 8, potentially. Those are projected. It's not official yet. So they have 5 picks and they're missing a 2nd rounder. There's not a lot of wiggle room there. So him potentially hitting the open market is massive news. So that's number one. Number one, the Bucs are unlikely to use it on Evans, and the rumor mill says that they are likely to place it on Antoine Winfield Jr. Okay, let's go to evidence number 2. This one came yesterday. Let me throw this up on the big board for everybody watching at home. Okay, this is from Jordan Schultz, NFL insider for Bleacher Report. Quote, the Buccaneers had a soft deadline today, it was yesterday, to get an extension done with Pro Bowl wide receiver Mike Evans. Both sides remain far apart, sources say. Tampa Bay is set to take on a $7.4 million dead cap charge in 2024 because they did not get a deal done yesterday. Talks will continue, but my understanding is Evans is trending toward becoming a free agent, barring an unexpected change in discussions. So that means, first off, they hit a dead cap hit. That's very interesting. I haven't seen a lot of contracts built that way where if you don't get a deal done by insert, you eat a massive dead cap charge. That would have motivated me like hell if I was Tampa Bay to get that deal done. And Evans, what's the number and see if we can make it happen? So it's very interesting they chose not to do that. It's a soft deadline, but $7.4 million in dead cap is a massive hit. Plus, if they wanted to bring back Mike Evans, they'd also have to pay him another cap charge on top of that. So, to me, very interesting. And the highlight of this, the sides remain far apart on a deal. Free agency, folks, is right around the corner. It's about 2 weeks away, give or take. It's a little bit more than that because there's 9 days in February. So it's like, 3 weeks. Let's call it 3 weeks for easy math. But it's right around the corner in the March 11th to 13th scenario, considering the legal tampering period. So there is a big one there from Jordan Schultz. But we have more. Now, here's the exclusive juicy bite that we're going to play here on Boy Green Daily, okay? Let me throw this up on the board as well. This is a clip I tweeted out. It's also on my Instagram, but we're going to play it for you here. It's a minute 29, but well worth it. Jordan Schultz hopped on the Bleacher Report live stream last night and connected the dots between the New York Jets and Mike Evans. Here we go. Let's roll the footage.
We have the New York Jets. Now, this is a team I believe next year is a playoff contender with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. I think the roster is pretty dang good. You think about the defense, the young corners, Reed and Bradshaw. Gardner, my apologies. You think about Jermaine Johnson, a Pro Bowler. And then on the offensive line, obviously, Elijah Vera Tucker comes back. I think they'll address offensive line. I think they'll address backup running back for Breece Hall. But you want to surround Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers with another bona fide, super talented wide receiver. So I love the idea. That would be a super boon to not only Garrett Wilson, but Aaron Rodgers. And when we think about some of the types of receivers that Aaron Rodgers has had a lot of success with, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, even Randall Cobb, a smaller guy, all three really physically imposing receivers. I mentioned Cobb can play in the slot, but another guy that was physical, Jennings, obviously Jordy Nelson. Just the idea, in terms of the idea of pairing Aaron Rodgers with a physical Mike Evans opposite Garrett Wilson. Then you talk about Breece Hall, the running game, again, trying to get a backup running back, upgrading the offensive line. But I really like that fit. I think it makes a lot of sense. And we know that the Jets tried to trade not only for Davante Adams, but also for Mike Evans before the deadline. So there's certainly going to be interest from Gang Green.
Certainly going to be interesting. A few words I want to highlight there. This is from Jordan Schultz last night. Fascinating little nuggets here. Here they are. Quote, I love the idea. Said it would be a super boom for Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Quote, I really like the fit. Quote, it makes a lot of sense. Here's this quote. We know the Jets tried to trade not only for Davante Adams, but also for Mike Evans before the trade deadline. So there's certainly going to be interest from Gang Green. All of those notes and quotes from Jordan Schultz. Now, I see a lot of action happening in the comments section. I was told last year, Trevor Sikkema, we had him on the show, may have been in August for the Jets-Bucks preseason game before I hopped on a cruise. Could also have been during the summer because we have him on for draft season, which, by the way, we will have him here in a bit. We'll have him in a couple weeks, so I'm looking forward to that with old Trevor Sikkema joining us. But when he joined us at whatever time that was, I brought up Mike Evans. Ooh, could that happen? And he said, basically, quote, a 0% chance. I did not look up the quote, but it was basically a 0% chance. Folks, there are some of you that are skeptical whether or not he would ever leave Tampa Bay. Folks, here's the brass tacks here, okay? Yes, he wanted to retire a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but he also wanted them, the Bucs, to show him proper respect, and they have not. He wanted to be signed to a long-term deal heading into last year. They did not. They had a soft deadline yesterday that charged the team $7.4 million in dead cap. That's a sizable chunk for no reason but, hey, we didn't sign you. They didn't show him the love last year, so I think, I'm going to be honest, I think Mike Evans could be on the move. And again, I repeat that the fact of the matter is that you have a chance to pitch Mike Evans in free agency if he's going to make it. And it sure sounds like he's going to make it, folks. So you have a chance. Sauce Gardner's out there in the social media streets saying he had a conversation with Mike Evans. I don't know where or when that was, but Sauce Gardner, GM, and all his tweets that are going out last night, he said he had a conversation with Mike Evans. Interesting. You have Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of the offseason. That is a critical piece to the puzzle. He can help you recruit. And people questioned it last year. They're like, how good of a recruiter is he? Randall Cobb, this, that. Was he the one who recruited all those guys? I'm pretty sure most of those guys were signed before Aaron Rodgers even joined the team. So I think that was, and I believe, who was that? Was that Woody Johnson? Or who said that of Woody Johnson, that he wanted to be aggressively getting those moves in for the others? May have been Rich Cimini, I'm not sure. But regardless, let's see Rodgers at the beginning of an offseason and how he brings people in. So I'm intrigued. I want to make a pitch for Mike Evans. He's been wildly productive. The numbers speak for themselves. This guy is one day going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's also an article in the YouTube description if you guys want to read some other details, because we had a separate Mike Evans piece. It didn't include necessarily all the nuggets we just showed you on the video or audio version. But ESPN analyst Eric Moody predicted, in fact, that Mike Evans would sign with the New York Jets this offseason. Quote, New York, again, the Jets will sign Mike Evans. New York should take advantage of the veteran wide receiver market during free agency. There's a lot of talk about Davante Adams because of his relationship with Aaron Rodgers, but I would love it if the Jets signed Evans. Rodgers, Evans, and Garrett Wilson would give defense coordinators migraines all season long. End quote. That is Eric Moody of ESPN throwing that in there. Now, the funky monkey, that we're talking about here is the moolah. Spotrac's market value projections expect Evans to sign a 4-year deal for $95 million. The $23.8 million annual salary would be number 6 among all wide receivers. So I'm curious, does he sign some massive deal in which I just said that's projected, or does he sign like a 1-2-year deal, maybe fully guaranteed DeAndre Hopkins style? Maybe that's in the $30 million-ish range, somewhere in that ballpark, or maybe a little pricier. That's very interesting to me. Let's see. My father jumps in. How much would he have to pay Evans? Again, that's kind of something we're trying to speculate about. The Spotrac market projections have it as some, long-term deal, relatively speaking, 4-year deal, $95 million, 23.8 average. But there's been other calculations in the marketplace that have had a 1 or 2 year deal for just a high number. That's possible. You could slap some void years on the back end of that. That's another possibility for the New York Jets. So that one's tantalizing. And he says Jets don't need 2 number ones. That's fair. But I guess the way I look at it is this: if a lot of people were high on the Jets receiving core going into last year, they were like, ooh, they got Mecole Hardman, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Allen Lazard, they got this guy, they got this guy. And one injury, thank God, that didn't happen. There was a couple of scares where we're like, oh boy, he got hurt, Garrett Wilson, and he wasn't, thank goodness. Or he played through stuff. Again, thank God. But if he goes down, this entire balloon crashes into the universe. That's the other reason I kind of want another number one. Why not? After years of neglect, this Jets team not giving the proper resources to the offensive side of the ball and coming off one of the worst offensive years in the history of football, I'm okay going all in on the offense and getting another number one. Do they not need 2 number ones? Maybe, but I want 2 number ones. I want Davante Adams. I want Mike Evans. I want some sexy name, T. Higgins, you name it, you got it. Give me overwhelming offense. You have to prepare for the worst case scenario and prepare for the best case scenario. Hope for the best, expect the worst. They may not need 2 number one wide receivers, Father, who comments in on our Facebook page, but I want it, baby. I want to stack the friggin' room. That's what I would like. That's what I would like to see from that perspective. Let's see, Gator jumping in on our YouTube page. Evans could be a hothead, a personal foul factory, also too expensive, rather Sutton for less money, but draft compensation. And if the Broncos are willing to trade him, they were willing to trade him last year, so the back end of that seems to be interesting, Gator, but would have to give up draft compensation. Probably going to be an early day 3 pick, I would imagine, is what the Broncos. Well, I'm sure the Broncos would want more than that, quite frankly, but maybe that's where they settle. Early day 3 pick, something like in the 4th round range, perhaps, but they could be seeking a 3rd, potentially. The only real criticism, and these are all fine, because he obviously had the history with Marshawn Lattimore, and that got aggressive. The one concern for me is the drops. Now, he obviously, look at the production. He catches the ball a lot more than he drops it, but he does have these routine kind of focus drops. I don't know what else to call them. It's like basic, and then he'll make a crazy one-handed catch in the end zone. So it's a very frustrating watch a lot of the time, I'm sure for Tampa Bay fans. But again, you forget about it very quickly because there's like a million touchdowns and everything else. Let's give a special shout out to a longtime fan and contributor of this show. That is Johnny, who just turned 36 today. Happy birthday, Johnny. There you go, brother. Happy birthday, pal. Justin commenting on Twitter. 2-year, $51 million deal. Get it done. Sign me up, baby. Yes, and my father also says on my Facebook page, Heavy on Jets, way too much. What would you have to pay Wilson after that? Now, that's the complicated picture of competing for the now and the later. Okay? Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Michael Carter II, DJ Reed, Tyler Conklin, and maybe even some of those latter ones are like, we'll pass on those guys. But still, you're going to have to pay guys now, of course, as you make it all in Chase. But you also have to keep in the back of your mind, oh, well, we got to pay those guys in a few years. Now, is that what Joe Douglas is thinking about? Who knows? Because, like, if he fails this year, he's fired and someone else is making those decisions. But it's a fair case to make sure that you think about the future as well. But they're thinking about the right now. That's where the blinders are at this point. But, yes, you have to make sure you pay all these guys exactly what it takes. Phil says, I honestly will be shocked if Evans is not in a Tampa uniform. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just getting a vibe. I assume that's where he would like in a perfect world, but Tampa Bay has been playing around, man. They didn't pay him last year. They're not paying him now. What is there to wait? I don't think it's a hometown discount. I think he wants to be respected. That's what I think a lot of people miss about salary and money. It's about respect. It's not about like, oh, man, Mike Evans won't be able to afford food for his family tomorrow. That's not what it's about anymore, obviously. Okay. He's, again, a future Pro Football Hall of Famer. But I think where it really is the respect factor. Hey, I've spent 11 years here. Pay me. Show me I'm a leader. Give me the Kobe Bryant treatment, God rest his soul. End of the a career, 2-year, $50 million Lakers. It was like a, hey, thanks for everything, pal. Kind of contract, kind of deal that he was offered. Now, some people are like, why would they do that? Well, it's a respect thing, man. If he's going to continue and you never want him to play in another uniform, you cough up the bones. And since they haven't been able to cough up the bones, to me, that opens up the door for someone else to burst through and steal him. And that's what I want to do. I want to steal him. I want to swipe him up because the impact that Mike Evans could have for Garrett Wilson is immeasurable. On every play, opposing defenses would have to go, Jesus, we covering him or double covering him. Wilson, Evans. It's a coin flip. And whoever you don't double is getting the pigskin. And if you try to really focus in on them, then it opens up someone else on the offense. So that is immeasurable. And what about Aaron frickin' Rodgers, baby? I'm never going to whine and complain about having too much juice in terms of throwing it around. Oh, boy, Mike Evans. Oh, boy, Garrett Wilson. Whoever the hell they get. Brock Bowers. I don't know. Whoever they get, I want him to have as many targets as he wants. So it's just like, oh, boy, it's like fairy tale land. It's a Madden video game fantasy draft with all these players on the team. That's what the Jets should have on the offensive side of the ball. Of it all. Evans is a TB lifer. Let him enjoy his final years in Florida. Hell no. Do it when you're retired, old man. Hell no. I'm not going to, hey, can you just respect us? We really want to keep him in Tampa Bay. Sucks to suck, pal. If he reaches the open market, I'm making an aggressive push. Hell yeah. He always got a Super Bowl ring. Come join the group and try to win another one. That's what I'm talking about. Johnny, do you want to stack the O-line like they stack women from a Motley Crue video, one of my favorite bands, or stack the wide receiver room like a Baywatch rerun? Compelling, certainly compelling. I hope it's like women from a Motley Crue video. That's how I want. Load the friggin' room, baby. That's how I feel. Load them up. Shout. Yeah, you get it. Mr. Bonesy's birthday. Okay, shout out to him as well. Yeah, we'll see. So, anywho, I want receiver help. I want offensive line help. In terms of what order, we got to see. Tyron Smith, who my father does not want me to keep talking about as the diehard Dallas Cowboys fan in the room. I want Tyron Smith. Plug him in at left tackle. But I do want a big receiver. And free agency is the first place to look. So Mike Evans, the legal tampering period is going to open up, and you're going to have this this run here. And in that run, that's where really we could get frisky of trying to really evaluate I mean, obviously they're evaluating the market right now, but once we get to the legal tampering period, you could kind of check out some of those boxes. Also, the franchise tag window obviously opens, and it's going to run from here today through March 5th. So teams are going to have a while to decide to slap the tag. That's going to remove some names as T. Higgins get removed from the board, Michael Pittman Jr. Who? I don't know. So that's going to be an important piece over the coming weeks. Most teams aren't going to slap their franchise tag today. They have like 2 weeks of time to decide, but those will be news bits that come in and potentially chop down the free agent market. So that's something else to keep an eye out for as well. So TBD on a lot of those. But again, NFL insider Jordan Schultz gave a couple of juicy bits of information on that we replayed on this show. The Jets will have interest in Mike Evans. Of course they will. The Jets tried to trade for him at the trade deadline. I think we forget that because we're so worried about Devontae Adams. But if they're willing to trade for him, they're really going to be interested in signing him as a free agent. Loves the fit and all those other wonderful things he said. And the fact that he is set to hit the open market and the Evans and the Bucks, quote unquote, remain far apart on a deal. That's all good news for the New York Jets. The more options that are out there, the more chances the Jets have to add somebody legitimate to that friggin' team. And that's what the Jets need. So we're only a couple of weeks away from all the action, everybody, and I hope you could join us for all of it. Boy Green Daily is live every morning at 7:30. You can also, even if you can't watch live, you got something else going on, we appreciate it if you watch after the fact as well. Make sure you guys like the video on YouTube. It's a huge difference maker. Plus, smash that subscribe button as well. We appreciate you on the YouTube channel and, quite frankly, wherever you happen to be watching the show. Later today, it's Boy Green Meets Woody. We'll be talking about the inside linebacker situation, and Rich Cimini threw out there that the Jets could be giving a brand new extension to CJ Mosley, and they could be creating some cap room. We'll also be talking about that live at 3 o'clock later today. Hope you guys can join us for that here on Tuesday, February 20th. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Take care and enjoy all your birthdays out there, you crazy.